was just one of those things where like my interests collided because, well, theater and mystery and literature and so good. Okay, I can't stress enough how good this book is. Okay, I kinda hate that noise. Moving on. Okay, now onto books that like normal people like. One of my all-time favorite novels of all time, how many times can you say of all time, is The Last Olympian. This is the final book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. I was a Percy Jackson kid. I am proud to admit it. I am 20 years old and loving the new show that's coming out. It's really fun to reread the books and go back through it. It's amazing, and my favorite book is the last one, just because, you know, when you're reading a series, it all culminates in the last book. If you haven't read Percy Jackson, I could not care less how old you are. Pick up the first book. It is a masterpiece about a young boy named Percy Jackson who finds out that he is a half-blood son of a human and a god, but he only knows his human mom, so he's like, wait, what do you mean I'm the son of a god? And he's sent on this big quest in the first book, and he's got to retrieve the lightning bolt from the underworld. Like, it is so fascinating and funny and lighthearted and emotional, and it's just a work of art, and you should read it, and you should get your kids to read it if you have kids, and if you know of a child, get that child to read it. So good. This series has seen a lot of love. I read this series myself back in 2015 maybe, and my sister had bought these books maybe 5 years prior, so I don't know, they're coming up on 15 years old. They're pretty old and well loved. A bit of a modern classic that I really love is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I've got the movie cover one, which is kind of depressing, but that's okay. I read this book my senior year of high school, and if you're not familiar with the story, the main character Charlie is writing notes to his pen pal as he goes through his freshman year of high school, and it deals with very heavy topics, depression and etc., and loneliness, and it is really powerful to read when you're like in high school or in school. Charlie is really just trying to find where does he belong, who's gonna be his friend, what are his interests, why is nobody realizing that life is really, really hard, how is he supposed to balance the fact that he is happy but also sad, and it's just really wonderful, and reading it my senior year made it really poignant for me, and I really loved it. It's super short, a very easy read. I would recommend it to anyone who has been through school or is in school, who has dealt with depression or family members with depression. It is just a wonderful book. Read the book, don't watch the movie. Okay, let me talk about one of my all-time favorite contemporaries to prove to you how normal I am. Okay, fun fact about me, I hate the romance genre. It's one of my most red flags. I feel like fun people like romance, but I can't stand it. I hate that it's so icky these days. I hate that it's lacking this substance, all this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, my sister loves romance, my best friend loves romance, and I love that for them and for you. I do not like hate on a person who loves romance. I think we all need that one thing that just makes our world go round. For me, that's fantasy, and for you, that's romance, and that's great. But I am gonna rack on romance if I don't like romance. So anyway, there are some romances, because I'm so picky about it, when I read a romance that fits all of my like insanely picky requirements, I get really obsessed because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm talking about, this is what I want them to be like. Sorry to scream in your face, but that happened for me when I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is a very popular book, so you might have heard of it, you might have read it, but I just discovered it this year, 2025, and it came out 2021. This is another book that takes place in high school. The main character generations and generations of this family as they live in this tiny little town, tiny little mythical town of Macondo. And it's insane. It's one of those books where you're like, I don't know what the plot actually was. All I know is that I followed your life and your son's life and his wife's life in the war. And it is so fun. It comes to life. And like there's a part where it just rains for years and years and years and years and years. Never stops raining. And it's like, okay, that was crazy. I've never read a book where it just doesn't stop raining. It's so funny. It's just random. And the opening chapter has magic carpet rides, and you just don't expect that kind of stuff when you open up a classic. And this one is just fun. It's just fun. And I love a book like that. Especially I love a book that surprises you. And usually you expect classics to be boring, so this was super fun. Marquez was really inspired by Kafka's writing. So if you happen to be interested in Kafka, he really does write similarly to Kafka, just more magical. Kafka did a little bit of magical realism, actually, now that I think about it, but not a ton. Okay, and the last classic, I swear this is the last classic I'm going to ramble about, except for the classics that I'm going to mention at the very end, but the last classic that I own, that I love, is John Steinbeck, East of Eden. Now, look at this book. She's lengthy. She took me a minute to finish. I actually read this my senior year of high school as well, and it took me months to finish, mostly because it's long. Okay, it's long, and it's got small words, and you have to take it kind of a chapter at a time, but this is just one of those books. John Steinbeck is my favorite American author. He writes in a way that slows time down and transports you. I really hate history, but these books take place long ago, and I'm very interested in them. It's like how I'm able to immerse myself in the past, because history bores me, but stories do not. But this story follows two brothers. It's a little bit of a Cain and Abel retelling, if you're familiar. Cain and Abel are brothers in the Bible, and Cain murders his brother. And so, I'm trying to remember the brother. I can't remember the name of the brother. It's only showing the name Adam, but it's Adam and his brother, and the brother has violent tendencies, and he does some crazy stuff, and he ends up, and then the brother named Adam, he's much more like well-loved and behaves himself, and he ends up with a wife and kids, and then those kids are twins with C and A names, and they have the same issue where one has anger issues, and it's like this bond of brotherhood. It's like, how far can it go? How much can it protect you from that anger? Will being a brother be enough to protect you or not? And it talks a lot about morality and good versus evil in the world. And I consider her a villain. There's a villain in the book called Kathy Trask. She is probably the freakiest villain I've ever read about, and she's not like a villain, like a witch. She just ruins lives, sets things on fire, and abuses people. And I just have never read a villain who stressful and makes my heart clench. I'm gonna love it. And this book did that. She hooked me in with the beginning, the first book, and then the second book I read it in 2 days. I was like, girl, I do not have time to not know what is happening. I need to know what's going on, okay? So I did. I found out what was going on. I really, 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 really loved this book. I still consider it to be unlike anything I've read. It's just wonderful. rivals to lovers, and there's typewriters and love letters, and you just can't even get me started. Divine Rivals is a book you need to read. It also takes place during a war between these like sleeping gods that have actually woken up, and now there's going to be a war, and the humans need to like get on it, because those gods need to go to sleep, or the world's gonna go crazy. Read that book. It is so good. It is a series, and the first one is my favorite. And then The Handmaid's Tale, one of my all-time favorite classics ever. So good. In my review, I said it's poetry disguised as prose. It's literally so poetic. It is wonderful, and you should read it. I also love Babel by R.F. Wang. Don't even get me started. It is a wonderful, wonderful book, and it made me want to change my major to, oh, now I can't even remember what it's called. So I'm glad I didn't change my major to it. Linguistics. I wanted to change my major to linguistics because it's about words and it's about students at Oxford, but in this sort of mythical world where there is a big tower of knowledge called the Tower of Babel, like the Bible, in the center, and it talks about just the evil that goes on in that world, and it's so applicable to our world and our history and how much we have kind of whitewashed our literature and stolen things from other countries and people who created art, and then we claimed it as ours. Anyway, so good, so wonderful, kind of sad, which is why I love it, and unpredictable. It's very kind of like dark academia-ish. Very, very good. If I have any other favorite books, I can't even think of them, which means they're not actually my favorites. Just kidding. I probably still love them. But I am so incredibly grateful that you decided that listening